Hey everyone, I'm really excited to share with you all these two kind of holiday pie alternative recipes. Around this time of year, pumpkin pie and apple pie are really popular, but maybe you don't want to make a whole pie. These two desserts will help you enjoy those treats in an easier way that's still very delicious. So for this first recipe, you're going to need some brown sugar, some ground cinnamon, butter, salt, white sugar, milk, an egg, an apple, some flour, and a puff pastry sheet. So the first thing you're going to do is take your apple and get all of the skin off of it by peeling it. So then you're going to just cut the apple into some really thin pieces. You want them to be thin so that they kind of soften well and fit nicely into the puff pastry. The next thing you're going to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and now you're going to take a pan and start melting down that butter. You can set your burner on about medium heat to get this going. Once the butter has melted, you're going to add in your apples and the brown sugar, ground cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. Now you can just give that a quick stir and cover it with a lid so that it helps the process to go a bit faster. And you can come back to it every so often and stir it around. Now I just like to take my pan and prepare it with some parchment paper and set that aside so that I'm all ready for that step. And like I said, go back to your pan so that you can stir it around a little bit. Once everything has started bubbling and the apples have softened, you can set it aside. And now it's time to prepare your surface with a bit of flour so that the puff pastry sheet doesn't stick to the table. I also like to put a little bit of flour on my rolling pin so that that doesn't stick to it as well. And you're just going to roll this out until, I don't want to say it like doubles in size, but it gets a lot bigger. And now I'm using a pizza cutter to cut my puff pastry sheet into 4 equal parts. And then I'm going to add some of the apple sugar mixture from earlier into each section of the puff pastry sheet. Next, you're going to make an egg wash with the egg and some milk. Just mix those together with a fork or a whisk or whatever you'd like. Next, you're going to use a pastry brush or a cooking brush to brush that egg wash on each of the sections of puff pastry sheet. And now you're going to take the opposite corners of those sections and fold them over and do the same thing with the other side so that you completely enclose the apples into the puff pastry sheet. Make sure you press down on the sides to ensure that all the areas and open gaps are closed and nothing can seep out while it's cooking. Then you're going to add each of those apple pastries to the parchment-lined baking sheet and put some more egg wash on top of all of them. Then you're going to take the granulated white sugar and sprinkle it on top of each of those puff pastries. Then you're going to put those in the oven for about 13 to 15 minutes until they start to get a little bit golden brown on top. Now for the homemade whipped cream, you're just going to take some heavy whipping cream, some granulated sugar, and a little bit of vanilla extract, and you're going to whip that in a stand mixer or a hand mixer until stiff peaks start to form. It takes about 5 minutes to see the whipped cream start to form, and it's definitely worth the extra effort. I feel this tastes way better than store-bought whipped cream. So as you can see here, I am just putting some of that whipped cream on top, and I'm also taking some warm caramel sauce, it's just, store-bought caramel sauce, and I'm drizzling it over the top, and it makes it so good. This dessert was pretty simple to make, and it will definitely remind you of apple pie. Now for our last dessert, we're going to preheat the oven to 375 degrees. And you're going to need an egg yolk, milk, pumpkin pie spice, canned pumpkin pie filling, pure maple syrup, powdered sugar, and crescent roll dough. First, you're going to take the canned pumpkin and put that into the bowl along with the egg yolk, pumpkin pie spice, and you're just going to give that a quick stir and make sure everything is mixed well together. And now you're going to put some flour on your work surface and open up your crescent roll dough package. And just separate each of those individual crescent roll pieces and get them ready for the filling. The filling is pretty liquidy, so don't put too much in the center of these. They were kind of hard to fold up and keep everything inside, so it might take a few tries for you to really get it down pat. But if it is a little messy, it's okay because it's not all going to come out while it's cooking. You're going to want to put these in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Just watch them till they get a little bit golden brown. And now it's time to make the glaze on top. So you're going to take the powdered sugar, pure maple syrup, and milk and just mix that together until you get the right consistency that you want. By that I mean you might have to add a little bit of milk to make it a little less thick if you would like. I know I had to do that. I'm putting the glaze into a Ziploc bag so that I can just cut off a corner when I'm ready to put it on my dessert. Adding that maple syrup into this glaze really made it delicious. I think it would even be a great idea for cinnamon rolls or something like that. But yeah, this was really good on these pumpkin crescent rolls. So these will definitely remind you of a pumpkin pie, and they were a little easier to make. So those are the 2 dessert recipes I have to share with you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and will try these out for yourself. Make sure to check the description box for exact measurements to all the ingredients. And be sure to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!